Hello, my name is Trey, and I'm going to teach you guys how to use these brand new autoclaves located at the New Science Complex on Louisiana State University's main campus in Baton Rouge. Okay, this is a 26-inch vertiglide autoclave or steam sterilizer with a boiler. Each one of these autoclaves in this building in the New Science Complex have their own steam generator. It's located underneath the chamber, and that's very important to know because it will come into play later on in the training video when we talk about turning the unit on and off properly. Okay, each one of these machines are equipped with a power door, so you can manually operate the door or you can use the power door option. Each one is equipped with a printer, which will give you a readout or a cycle printout of each cycle that you have just ran. It's also equipped with a digital printout, so it logs all the data that you would receive on the printout via this USB directly above the display. You can take this USB thumb drive to a computer and pop it in, and it will populate an Excel spreadsheet with all the data from the printout. You can actually turn this printer off if you choose to just record everything digitally. You would go into the manager menu, printer options, turn the printer off. Let's get started with the two most important things for this autoclave. The first most important thing is the daily requirement for the users to check the chamber drain strainer. The chamber drain strainer is located inside the chamber below this bottom rack right in the center of the chamber. It is the user's requirement or responsibility to remove this. Sorry, this machine is hot. To remove this chamber drain strainer, inspect it for foreign material, foreign debris, and make sure this is clean. Take it to a sink, dump it out. Any foreign material, whether it be pine shavings, broken glass, soil, tape, bottle caps, pipette tips, etc. We need to keep that clean. Very important. The second most important thing for this machine is not to use any bleach or chlorides. We understand that you might have some bleach or chlorides in your load if you're going to use this for trash, and that is fine. But what we mean is we don't want you to spray this machine down and then wipe it clean with bleach. People think that stainless steel won't rust, but introduce chlorides to stainless steel and it'll start rusting immediately. So please do not use bleach or chlorides to clean this machine. Which will lead me to this. This is your starter kit. Inside the starter kit is what we call C3, Consolidated Chamber Cleaner. This solution right here, you can use this along with the spray tip to clean any messes or spills or anything that you want to clean out from inside the chamber. Also in this starter box is a SDS sheet for the C3. It's pretty friendly. I have sensitive skin and I've gotten it on my skin before and haven't had an issue with irritation or anything. Also in the starter box is the user manual via this thumb drive. And then we have this little laminated sheet that I recommend you guys post on the wall inside each room that the autoclaves are located. This is a quick start guide, just a summary of everything that I'm going to go over here today. Okay, the remaining contents within your starter box are a pair of gloves, a Scotch-Brite pad to loosen up anything that might be stuck to the chamber in sequence with the C3 Consolidated Chamber Cleaner, and also 2 extra rolls of paper. if you use the printer option. So that's your starter kit. Each autoclave in this building has their own starter kit. We will transfer those over to the contractor, which will transfer over to the owner eventually. Okay, door operation. I just got an alarm that my wastewater was over the set temperature, which is no surprise because the domestic cold water to this machine has been turned off. So I just turned the domestic cold water back on. I'm going to clear this message and we should be good to go. Okay, as far as door operation goes, on the lower left corner of the display up here is two options, one for up and one for down. Press and hold these options and the door will close automatically or open automatically. And there's also a feature up here where you can stop the door anytime you want. See, I stopped it before it was fully open. Now we're gonna go back up. Or you can also manually operate the door. I will say that if you manually operate the door, please use caution. We call the technical model for this is an SR26A, but we call them in the field, we call them easy glides, just because they're very easy to operate the door up and down. Please do not use excessive force when operating this door. The door uses a counterweight to help balance and make the transition of the door easy. And if you're too rough with this machine or the door, the counterweight can get off balance or off the pulleys and lead to the door not functioning correctly. Okay, as far as turning this machine on, I'm gonna power it down and then power it back up just to demonstrate what you guys might go through in a given day. So I powered it down and now we're powering back up. The display and the PLC are booting up. It just takes a few minutes, or a few seconds really. So when you come into this room or to use this autoclave, the display is going to be blank or black, just like your phone goes to sleep, just like your computer goes to sleep. And all you have to do is tap it to wake it up, and it's going to prompt you to this screen right here. It's giving me another warning that says power interrupted and idle. That's because I turned the power off completely and back on. I'm going to acknowledge this message. Okay, on a normal day, after you tap the screen to wake it up, this is the screen you will see. It says, good afternoon, press anywhere to continue. So press anywhere. Okay, this is our login screen. This machine has the ability to have up to 50 users with their own username and password to protect just anybody from coming in to use it. Several pros to having the username and password enabled. Okay, after you wake up the screen and you press anywhere to continue, it's going to prompt you to this screen right here, and then you need to turn the machine on. You need to press jacket on. What that's going to do is it's going to turn the jacket on as well as the generator. So on a normal day, if this machine was cold, after you press jacket on, you would need to allow at least 30 minutes, 30 to 45 minutes for this machine to warm up and be ready to use. If you come in here and it's cold and you turn the jacket on and try to run the machine immediately, most likely it's going to fail. We need to allow a little bit of time for the steam generator to build up pressure in the generator, but also the jacket. If you guys do not know what I mean by the jacket, Just like you and I wear a jacket to insulate ourselves and keep us warm, there is a thin reservoir all the way around this chamber. This is the chamber where you put your load. There's a reservoir that holds steam all the way around the chamber, all the way back and in the back, and that serves two purposes really. It insulates the machine, but it also ensures that we have a consistent temperature, whether you have a bottle or any contents of your load in this corner of the autoclave versus that back corner of the autoclave. You should have an even distribution of temperature. So the jacket helps us with that. This machine pulls steam from the jacket and the chamber when you start a cycle to start sterilizing your load. So it's very important that we have pressure inside our jacket as well as our generators before you start a cycle. One good way to tell if this machine is ready to run is look at the pressure gauge. We need a minimum of 10 psi in the jacket before you start. 10 to 15 psi normally. Right now it's operating at 14 psi. But how you would check to make sure that you are ready to run is you can press this information tab or button at the top of this screen, and it's going to display the chamber temperature, chamber pressure, and jacket temperature. The jacket temperature needs to be at or near your target sterilization goal. So if you're trying to autoclave or sterilize at 121 degrees, this jacket temperature needs to be plus or minus 2 or 3 degrees of your target. So right now it says it's at 119 degrees. That satisfies me if I want to run at 121 degrees Celsius inside this autoclave. So let's ensure we have pressure in our jacket, which ultimately means we have pressure in our generator, and we also have our temperature. Then you're ready to run a cycle. How do we run a cycle? You would insert your load, and if you're running a liquid load, you must put all liquids inside a tub, not just any tub, an autoclave approved tub, either a stainless steel tub that can contain any spills or boilovers, or like Thermo or Fisher Scientific, they sell autoclave temperature rated tubs specifically for autoclaves. Do not go to Walmart or Target and buy just a tub off the shelf and try to run it in here. It's going to melt it, it's going to wind up in the drain, and it's going to cost the university a lot of money to fix it. Okay, so to execute a cycle, you would enter your user and password information. In this case, there has been no usernames or passwords programmed into this machine, so the global username is user1, password is 1234. Once I've input that information, I'll press to log in, and that will advance me to the cycle selection screen. On the cycle selection screen, we have several tabs at the top. We have favorites, which you can program, pre-program, and most people only run 3 to 4 cycles maximum, and you can input those cycles right here on the favorites, so they're always just ready to go when you are ready to go. However, you have the option to press the gravity tab, liquid tab, or vacuum tab if you so choose to run one of those type of cycles. Okay, so just for demonstration purposes, I'm going to click a gravity cycle. Okay, I'm going to alter my parameters, which you can do right here on the touch screen. So we're going to alter a gravity cycle. It's titled Gravity 3, 121 degrees. I'm going to change it from 60 minutes just down to 1 minute. And then I'm going to change the dry time down to 1 minute. So I have a sterilization time of 1 minute and a dry time of 1 minute. Okay, I've put my loads, I've ensured they're in a tub. which you wouldn't need to do on a gravity cycle because there are no liquids in a gravity cycle or a vacuum cycle. If you have liquids, you must run it on a liquid cycle. And I don't care if it's even 2 ounces of liquids. Any amount of liquids, you must run on liquid cycle. Even trash, biohazard waste from the lab, if it has just a petri dish in it, you must run it on liquids. Okay, I'm gonna close my door. Once my door is closed, I verified my parameters. I'm gonna hit this green button, press to start. Okay, this is going to give me a estimated countdown for total cycle length, not the phase that it's on. So every phase or every cycle that you run, whether it's a gravity, liquid, or vacuum, all have phases of the cycle. They all start with conditioning, which is what we're doing right now. We're purging that chamber. So we've opened up the drain valve, we've opened up the steam supply, and we're purging all of the air that we just captured inside there. We're pushing that down the drain where it's nothing but straight steam inside the chamber. That's the first phase. After that, you will either go into your vacuum pulses or you'll go into the charge phase where we're charging up to our target temperature. Once you achieve your target temperature, this machine has a 1-minute stabilization period before it goes into the sterilized phase. So we condition, that's the first phase. We charge, that's the second phase. The third phase would be sterilize. In this case, we did it for 1 minute of sterilize, which this will actually have 2 minutes at 121 degrees because we have that 1 minute stabilization period. So right now we're in the charge phase. It's at 106 psi, building up temperature and pressure. When it comes to steam sterilizers, you cannot have one without the other. Time and temperature and pressure correlate. The 3 factors of sterility are time, temperature, and pressure. But time and temperature, those 2 correlate. You cannot have one without the other. So as we're building or rising in temperature, we're also building pressure. We're at 105 degrees as the generator's generating more steam to put back into the chamber and also the jacket. You can see this machine, because we're generating our own steam underneath locally instead of a greater steam supply like within the building, it's going to take a little bit longer to run an overall cycle just because we're having to generate the steam as we're using it. But it's coming up, so it may drop in temperature until it kind of bottoms out, and then it'll slowly start rising up. Okay, so while that's charging up and completing this cycle, I'm going to talk about the e-stop. Right here, this emergency stop. It's exactly as it's expressed. If you have an emergency, come in here, press this button. Once you press that button, just walk away. I always use the example of if you come in here and this machine has steam coming out from the sides and the bottom, you come over here and press this emergency stop button, then walk away. That is not going to stop the steam, but it's going to stop generating steam, which will eventually slow down. You can see here our total estimated cycle time is 9 minutes and 15 seconds. As this machine runs, that window or that estimation will get tighter. It's kind of like miles to empty in your car, so it's based off previous usage. This machine has to gain some data on how long it takes to charge, just different factors to get a real accurate total cycle estimation. Another way to stop the steam from generating would be your three-phase disconnect. So that is located within the room. Before I will show you inside this room before I conclude the video. Okay. If you ever need to abort a cycle, which I'm not going to do that just yet, but you can see on the screen this big red button on the side. So say you started a cycle, but you forgot some glass that you're trying to sterilize. You can press abort this cycle. Once you press abort this cycle, it's going to prompt another window that says, are you sure you want to abort the cycle? You press yes. At that point, it will go through the exhaust phase of whichever cycle you have chosen. So if you have a 5-minute dry time on a gravity or vacuum cycle, it's going to go through that 5-minute dry time before it aborts the entire cycle. On a liquid cycle, nobody has control over how long it takes because that's a preset time for the liquid cycles to exhaust. On liquid cycles, we want to bring things up at a slow, even pace, but also bring them back down at a slow, even pace. That's why it's preset for the exhaust. You guys cannot alter that. Plus, there's a 10-minute cool down on the backside of a liquid cycles. You can estimate if you're going to run a 15-minute liquid cycle, it's probably going to take about 45 minutes to an hour to complete that cycle. As where if you ran a 15-minute gravity cycle, it would take total estimated cycle time maybe 19 to 20 minutes. So we're charging up our temperature. We're at 112 degrees now. I'm going to let that keep going. I'm going to bring in the carton carriage while we're letting that heat up. Okay, so each one of these autoclaves is equipped with 2 carton carriages. So you can roll this stuff into whichever lab you're working on, load it up with whatever you are going to be autoclaving or sterilizing, roll it back into this room, and then it's a simple transition into the chamber, and you sterilize this transfer cart as well as your load. This has adjustable racks. This top rack will come off. You can remove this dowel rod, and there are pre-slotted selections on each side. Oops. Sorry, I don't do this every day. Based on what type of glassware or load you have, you can adjust this up or down or remove it altogether. Okay, as far as operation of transferring the cart into the chamber. So all of these carton carriages are aligned and leveled to each machine for the room they are in. We're going to make this rail system up with the tracks that are welded inside the chamber, and once we abort this cycle or the cycle finishes, we'll open the door and you'll be able to see. Okay, we're going to pause on the carton carriage for a second, go back. We're in the stabilize phase of this cycle right now. So that goes on for 1 minute because we've satisfied our temperature at 122 degrees. Our pressure's at 17, 18 psi, which correlates. And as soon as that 1 minute stabilization countdown completes, it will go into the sterilizing phase, which it just did. So we've got 1 minute of sterilizing, and then it's going to go into the exhaust phase. And I guess we'll just let this cycle go ahead and complete all the way. Normally I have time for questions, but since we're having to record this training, that's not an option. However, my information, as well as my company's information, will be posted on the side of each one of these machines, If you guys ever have any operational questions or concerns about the machine, give us a call. We'll be happy to walk you through any kind of trouble or issues you're having at the moment. And also you can visit consterile.com, which is Consolidated's website. There are a ton of instructional videos. Okay, so we just went into our exhaust phase. It kicked on the vacuum pump. It's now sucking all that steam that's inside the chamber, sucking it down and putting it down the drain for 1 minute. After the exhaust phase of the autoclave, or of the total cycle, this will have to suck the door gasket back. Excuse me. So earlier I mentioned this is a Vertiglide door. This is also what we call an active seal sterilizer. So what that means is our door gasket or our door seal, it moves once we close the door and press start. Compressed air forces the gasket out to close the door, to close off the chamber. After your exhaust phase, we now have to suck that door gasket back into the machine groove that's around the chamber, and that takes about another minute. So we have, right now, we're showing 2 minutes left on our overall countdown, which is probably pretty accurate. Okay, see, it just finished our exhaust phase, and now it's sucking back the door. That takes another minute or so. And right now it says releasing door. So we have successfully completed our cycle. And once it sucks the door gasket back, we will be free to move the door up and down. Feel free to shoot us text or email with any questions you may have based on our information that will be on the side of each one of these machines. Okay, you can see a big green check mark. It says cycle successful, open door to continue. You can manually drop the door down, or you can use the automatic feature. Okay, do you guys see all that steam? They don't have the hood working properly just yet, or turned on just yet. In a normal day, you would not have that much steam rolling out of the chamber if everything is working correctly. Because I only ran a 1 minute exhaust phase, that is why we had so much condensation. Plus it's a little humid here in Baton Rouge today. When that hot air hits this colder air, it humidifies. But now we're good. Okay, you can see down here, this is the rail system that you will line the tracks up to on the cart and carriage. So I'm going to use these gloves. I'm in the starter kit to protect myself. Please use PPE when operating this machine. And I'm going to pull these standard racks. So you guys have a rack plus cart and carriage combo. You can just use the simple racks that stay in the machine all of the time, or you can use the cart and carriage feature. So you can remove these racks. Okay, to properly load the transfer cart from the carriage, simply align these rails up against the tracks until it locks into place. Okay, we're locked. You can tug on the machine or on the carriage and it does not pull. We're locked into place. To release the cart, you would pull this up and simply just push. Okay, now our transfer cart's in the chamber. We need to release the carriage. You would use this black button. You push in, and that allows you to take the carriage away from the autoclave. And just the reverse for unloading. There is a little bit of play on this carton carriage. I would recommend not to push it all the way back. Just find a happy medium right there. Okay, if you're going to unload, just in the reverse, open the door, align the tracks with the rails. Please use PPE because this is going to be very hot. Just pull this back out until it locks into place. You have to lift up slightly on that. Now it's locked into place. My cart's not going anywhere. We'll release the carriage and you're back to your lap. All right, now I briefly want to just go over a few options that are in the controls here. Okay, I mentioned earlier that this has a password feature. So what we're gonna do first, this is your login screen. Right now, passwords are enabled. I'm gonna press the information tab at the top. This is the same screen you would see if you wanted to verify that this machine is ready to go. You have your jacket temperature, chamber pressure. This machine only has 5 cycles on it. There's a cycle count right here. Okay, to alter or input user information, you will press manager. The manager password is 10. Enter. This is the manager menu. Okay, over here on the left-hand side, we have cycle management, user management, select favorites. So for user management, if I wanted to add somebody, I would select the user management tab, add user, I'm gonna put my name in here. Trey. I'm gonna put a password, 1, 2, 3, 4, enter. Add user. Okay, I now have 2 users. I have the global one that comes from the factory and I have a new one for myself. Okay, if you want to turn user and password off, down here in the bottom left corner, it says passwords enabled, usernames enabled. You can simply just turn those off to disabled. And now your autoclave will go directly to that cycle selection menu, okay? One or the other, it's up to you guys, enabled or disabled. All right. As far as cycle management, you can press the cycle management screen. This is where you would input your custom cycles. So if I had something I ran on a regular basis, I can enter the cycle name. I'm gonna do, just for an example, I'm going to title this empty glass. I don't know if it'll let me, yeah, empty glassware. I'm gonna press enter, and then I'm gonna input my parameters. Conditioning time, 60 seconds, that's perfect. Sterilization time, I'm gonna go 15 minutes. Sterilization temp, 121. Dry time, 5 minutes, that looks perfect. Once I've confirmed my parameters for the cycle, I'm gonna put confirm changes. Okay, now we have this new cycle right here. Okay, and so on and so forth for liquid and vacuum cycles to add or alter existing. Now we're gonna go back to select favorites. Okay, so that new cycle that I just pre-programmed, if I wanted it to show up on my favorites at number 4, I would go to assign number 4, I would click gravity, empty glassware. Now on my favorites, I have gravity 1, gravity 2, liquid 1, and that custom cycle we just inputted or created. I'm gonna change it back just for our purposes here. Okay, and earlier in the training I mentioned that to turn the machine on, you press jacket on. And that is correct. However, this machine also has a function called the Eco Calendar, where you can pre-program this machine to come on at certain times and also go off at certain times. It is very important for this machine not to stay on 24/7. I'll repeat that one more time. It is very important for this machine not to stay on 100% of the time. It needs to turn off. This machine is equipped with an automatic blowdown for the steam generator, and it will never blow itself down if you do not turn the machine off. Okay, but back to the Eco Calendar. If you get on a consistent schedule where you want this autoclave to be on at a certain time, say I normally come in at 8 and I start preparing my loads at 8:30 after I check my emails, I can program this machine to come on at 9. Come on at 9 a.m. and go off at 5 p.m. Make sure to switch AM to PM for whichever time you so choose for it to come on. Okay, for this feature to be enabled, you have to turn, right now, Eco Calendar is off. If you want it on, you have to just turn it to on. Okay, and each one of these days, it doesn't have to come on every single day. Maybe you only want it to come on Mondays and Tuesdays. So you would select not used to used, whichever days you want. Maybe you want it Monday, Wednesday, Friday, because you have class on Tuesday, Thursday. You can change this to whatever you want to come on and go off at a certain time. Okay, I mentioned earlier to turn the printer off. So right underneath the printer or the Eco Calendar is printer and data log options. Right now this is preset to give you a data point every minute of the cycle. So the printer interval is every 60 seconds, but where it logs data is every 15 seconds. So you could change that to give you a data point every 15 seconds, or you could change it to give you a data point every 3 minutes. Strictly up to you. I'm gonna leave it at the factory presets, which is 1 minute. That's kind of the standard in the industry. Okay, I accidentally turned the printer off, which is what you would want to do if you want to rely solely on this digital option. Right now I turned it back on, but to turn the printer off, just right there under printer and data log options. That is pretty much everything that you guys need to know as far as operation of this beautiful autoclave. If you guys have any questions, like I said, visit consterile.com, or you can find our information located on the side of each one of these machines. I appreciate your time. Have a good day.